Let me tell you something very important about IELTS speaking templates. If you're using rigid templates like complete sentences or even half phrases, you're going to get in trouble because the examiners penalize you on strict template usage, especially the ones that are extremely common. However, if you use certain words and phrases that are academic, they keep you structured and they serve as guides for you to naturally craft your answer around, you gain a ton of marks. And it keeps you organized, it gets you marks for vocabulary, and you stay focused because you know what you got to do around the answer, and then you simply focus on naturally doing that answer. This is what we're going to discuss in today's video. We have templates for parts 1, 2, and 3. Some are detailed, some are not, based on how much I want you to be natural and not rigid. At the end of this video, I got a golden strategy for you that is highly important, so stay tuned until the end of this video. Now, when you're in part 1, this question will always be there. Do you work or study? So since it's there, we gotta talk about a perfect format that you can use. If you work or study, be natural and mention exactly what you do, because it's gonna be easy to elaborate. So if you work, you wanna start with currently, adverb, and a good connector. Currently, I work as a something, job title, at the company name. My main duties include this and this. Mention at least 2 things. I enjoy it because it helps me improve my skills. Now here's where you have to elaborate. Helps me improve my skills as a chef, as this is going to be my future career, and so on and so on. So explain why this is important to you, because it helps you in this way, and elaborate on that. If you don't enjoy your work, you hate it, you mention that while this is my full-time job, I'm actually quite burnt out because my working culture is very toxic. I actually don't enjoy the company that I'm with. However, you got to pay the bills. So be natural, okay? Now, if you study, you're going to start again with currently. I study this subject at this school name. My course teaches me about topic 1 and topic 2, 2 things, which are useful for my future career. Now, if these 2 things were long, you have elaborated them, you can stop the answer right here. If these are not too long, for example, you say, my course teaches me about economy and accounting, which are useful for my future career. So now you still have to elaborate. For example, you can say, which are useful for my future career as an accountant. That's who I aspire to be. I've always been in love with numbers, and this course that I'm learning right now is something that's piquing my interest and helping me for my future career. That's it. Okay, once you're done with that, for the remainder of the questions in part 1, these are going to be personal questions, easy day-to-day conversation type questions. You want to use connectors that are not super advanced yet. We're going to use them in part 3. These connectors would be like plus. Also on top of that, you should have variations. So here you have a 4-worded connector. Here you have 1 and 1 word. You also want to use useful sentence starters like while, since, and given that. When you use them, you make complex sentences. While I'm studying this here, I don't actually like this because I want to do something else. My parents are just forcing me to study here. So while, since, and that, given that, would help you do 2 clauses in 1 sentence, giving you marks for your complex sentences. Now let's talk about part 2. This is the cue card with usually 3 to 4 bullet points, 4 bullet points being the most common thing. And that's again where you have even 3 bullets, and that 4th question, I just call it the 4th bullet point. Now, when you start, you want to start with something like this. When I think about this topic, the first thing that comes to my mind is this, because most of you just say, today I would like to talk about. You want to be different, and this is also a complex sentence because it has clause 1, clause 2. Now, when you're answering the first bullet point, start by saying first, da-da-da. Now, give the answer here first. This is what I think about that first bullet point, and then expand on it. Say, because of this, then give the extra detail, because most students never expand and explain, losing their marks for task response. Then you want to say regarding, and then the point that is mentioned in the 2nd bullet should be mentioned here. Regarding this point, it was, it is, it will be, if it's past, present, or future, and expand on this. Now, bullet point 3, basically, And here you start with bullet point 3 with the second sentence talking about a quality of that. It was really, or it is really, depending on the tense, it was really impressive. I was blown away with the performance, whatever. Explain that. And the reason I'm saying use adjective here is because people fail to use adjectives, qualities, and that restricts their marks in the range of vocab. So please add adjectives, especially in bullet point 3. You mostly have to explain something with more descriptions and with a picture. Now, bullet point 4, the most interesting part was, based on the question. I mean, if it's not interesting, you can say the most horrifying part was, the most awe-inspiring part was, depending on the situation. And here is where you go into the detail with bullet point 4. You can see the way each sentence starts with each bullet point is different, and it also is kind of forcing you to expand on the description, giving you marks left and right. In conclusion, you would start with honestly, and again, we're not using basic words like overall or that is why. We're saying honestly, it's an adverb, it's unique and advanced. I do not think about this often, but I'm glad that I had the chance to talk about it. Now, this is something standard that you can use at the end, mostly for everything, but try to customize it to the question. Honestly, I do not think about this often, but I'm glad that I was able to talk about this today and revisit the memories from the past, if it's past memories, and similarly adapt it if it's something in the present or future. But this would be the start, the guide you would use to finish this off. When you go to part 3, you still use the connectors and sentence starters, but now you got to be more academic, because the questions are more professional questions, not personal anymore. So the 3 connectors you want to keep in mind are furthermore, likewise, what's more, academic, and they're all different in tone. Useful sentence starters that will make these sentences complex would be based on, due to, not only. Not only, but also is my favorite combination. It really helps elaborate multiple things in one sentence. It also gives you a complex sentence mark. Also remember to use adjectives and adverbs to make your answer sound stronger. Not only that, it also gives you your range of vocab and it helps you with the descriptions. So especially when you're in part 3, people become too focused on the content because the questions are complicated, but do not ignore that we have to use adjectives, qualities of something, and adverbs, which are the qualities of the verb. Quickly, slowly, diligently, etc. Anything with the lease, make sure to add them to add more description and gain all those marks. Now, let's talk about our golden strategy. This is for parts 1 and 2. You want to focus on 2 long points or 3 short points. This is the golden strategy that you need to remember in IELTS speaking for parts 1 and 3. Here's what I mean. If you ask me, what do you like about your work? I can give you 3 short points right now. What I like about my work is my ability to help thousands of students. Moreover, I'm able to reach millions of people in some good months, which makes me feel very accomplished. Finally, it does provide for my family, which is what I appreciate. 3 short points, right? Not much explanation with each. Some explanation, not too much. Now let's do 2 long points. What I like about my work is my ability to teach sometimes millions of students within some months. This is an incredible feat for me because I never thought I would ever reach this amount of customer base and get a positive message across to them. Moreover, it is important for me to continue my work because it continues to feed my family and myself. Obviously, any breadwinner and any person being in my position who is responsible for a plethora of bills would appreciate steady income, which this work provides. That's it, 2 long points. So you could either do 2 long points or 3 short points and use the above words, connectors, phrases to craft a perfect answer and be natural at the same time. That's it for this video. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want the best IELTS teachers to train you and give you feedback that you will really benefit from and that'll help you nail your exam, check out the link in the description. Until next time.